Hey, what's up everybody? This is Ian from Savvy Zen out here in the desert. Today I would like to talk about what is the best Yoga Sutras translation. First of all, there is no best Yoga Sutras translation. Because we all have a different purpose on our heart-oriented path in yoga. You will be told along your yoga journey that this book is the best, or this yoga philosophy or yoga style is better than all the others. However, that may be for those people, but on your journey, you need to ask yourself daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, what is my intuition telling me? Where is my heart leading me to in yoga? Because if you get lost, if you're following the brain too much, if you're chasing power too much, you may be missing out on the experiences that you're supposed to be having. So instead, I chose my three favorites, and I feel like the three most diverse, and I'm going to quickly talk about those. There is an article on savvyzen.com that goes into much more depth about this in the summary below. So the first one is, I feel like, the best overall Yoga Sutras translation, which is Edwin Bryant's The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So Edwin Bryant is a scholar from Columbia University, has his PhD in Sanskrit, and he's written the first comprehensive academic and postmodern translation and commentary of the Yoga Sutras. It's about 450 pages, or 475 pages, excuse me, and he really hits home with this translation because he provides throughout his translation and commentary 5 or 6 different viewpoints about how to look at each sutra, because there's many different schools of thought in yoga, and then there's Hinduism and Buddhism. He goes into a lot of those, and he actually references the other 2 books and like their philosophy in his. So if you're looking for a very comprehensive sutras translation, here's the one to go for. Yes, it's a little bit hard, but I learned so much. I learned so many new Sanskrit words and so many new concepts when I read this one. So best overall, Edwin Bryant's. The best one for beginners, or the best short translation, is How to Know God, The Yoga Aphorisms of Patanjali by Swami Prabhavananda and Christopher Isherwood. This one's really cool because Christopher Isherwood was a novelist, a playwright, a creative type of guy from the West, and he was the disciple under the Swami. And also Aldous Huxley was too, and all 3 of these guys were like friends. And Aldous Huxley and Jiddu Krishnamurti all read this book and all got reviewed this book. So this book is got some very beautiful writing and some progressive thinking when it comes to the Yoga Sutras. Sure, it's traditional and has a lot of traditional outlooks, but it's much different than the other 2, and it reads better than a lot of the other shorter translations. So I would definitely check this one out. You can read this one in an afternoon. I think it's 135 pages, and a lot of it is broken up, and so it's a pretty fast read. The third translation is the best Yoga Sutras translation that is rooted in tradition. So that one is The Yoga Philosophy of Patanjali by Swami Haraharananda Ariana. And so this Swami was born into royalty, and much like the Buddha, he renounced that royalty and went and started living in caves and living a hermit lifestyle. By the end of his life, he was living in an artificial cave, had a bunch of disciples, and he would just lecture out of the cave every day. After his death, P.N. Mukshahiri, this guy who rendered this into English, he got all the transcripts that they had written down about his thoughts on the yoga, about Patanjali's philosophy and the Yoga Sutras, and he compiled it into one book. This one's about 400 pages, but the text is really large, so it's not as big as Edwin Bryant's. This one has some really cool thoughts because it offers a lot of practical advice about how to do asana and pranayama and other things, which the other 2 maybe don't get into as much. Because this is rooted in a tradition. This is very strict and very straightforward. It gives the best classical look at the yoga of old. So, my favorite way to read the Yoga Sutras, though, and to learn, and the best thing I ever did, was read all three of these at once. I'd read 1.1 and like 1, 2, 3. I would read Edwin Bryant's first, then How to Know God, and then the Yoga Philosophy of Patanjali, and I would just go, I went through them all and just reading them one at a time. I think I did like 2 or 3 a day, and I finished, in like about 3 months. And that really like opened my eyes, and that really got me into it all, because I was looking through different lenses and different perspectives, which I think is a huge part of yoga, is not just seeing things in an objective way, but heading into subjective reality. So, if you like this, subscribe to the channel. There'll be a lot more conscious yoga philosophy. I have an ebook on yoga philosophy on my page. Check that out too.